Hello everyone, this is Mara the Reading Hedgehog with my May book haul. So in total I hauled 30 books this month. A lot of it actually is bleed over from April. As you all know, I filmed my April book haul rather early last month because I had to leave for Nashville. So some of these are from my birthday and from Nashville and new releases and stuff. So let's just jump straight into it because it is still a lot of books. So the first category will be new releases I bought this month, and that includes some April buys that did not make it onto my April book haul, as well as just books that were released in May. So the first one is Diary of a Waitress, The Not So Glamorous Life of a Harvey Girl by Carolyn Mayer. I actually got this when I was in Nashville at Parnassus Books, and this came out April 7. Have not heard of this book before I bought it, but it's Carolyn Mayer. It's historical fiction. I trust Carolyn Mayer's books, so I went ahead and got it because it sounded really interesting. And it's Carolyn Mayer. After that, I bought Rook by Sharon Cameron. This came out April 28, and this is the entire reason I went to Nashville at all. I have read this book by now. You will hear more about it in my reading wrap-up, but let me just say, guys, this is maybe her best book, and I loved her other two books. This one's very different from her other two books, but it was amazing. I loved it. It was so, so good, and yes, just so good. You'll hear about it in my wrap-up. After that, I bought An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. And this also came out April 28. I had the ARC, did not get around to reading the ARC before it came out. I was at the University of Washington bookstore and decided to go ahead and get it because, if I can show you, it is signed. Look at that signature. Isn't that the coolest thing ever? So as of while I'm filming this, I am reading it right now and really enjoying it, and you will hear more about it in my wrap-up. And I don't know if this is the beginning of a new series. I think it is. I don't know. Next up, I bought Pip Bartlett's Guide to Magical Creatures by Jackson Pierce and Maggie Stiefvater. This also came out April 28. Yes. And I also bought this at Parnassus Books while I was at Nashville. And yeah, it's Maggie Stiefvater. It's the first book she has ever illustrated, and I had to get it. And this is the beginning of a series. I think it's a trilogy, but it just looks really cute and has little drawings. I love Maggie Stiefvater's illustrations. So really looking forward to reading this at some point. The next book I bought, which I actually need to hunt down because I put it in the wrong pile. Where are you? I gotta find it. There you are. Sorry. I have these all section files. So the next book that I bought was Magonia by Maria Devana Headley. This also came out April 28, and I also bought this while I was in Nashville. A lot of you may have been hearing about this book. It's being described as, I think, The Fault in Our Stars meets Stardust. I don't usually really pay attention to descriptions like that. They kind of annoy me. But it did sound really interesting. Don't remember entirely what it's about, as usual, when I get around to filming these hauls. I don't remember any of the synopses. But it's shiny and pretty, and it sounds really good, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's got an imprint in it. Very pretty. So, picked it up, and looking forward to reading it. After that, I bought A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is the first book in her brand new series. This came out May 5th, and it is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I've actually heard that this is a new adult book, so it'll be my first new adult book, and probably my only new adult book. But Sarah J. Maas, I have a love-hate relationship with her books, but this sounded interesting, so I went ahead and got it. I think this has... No, it does not. It does not have a stunning cover underneath. Too bad. After that, I bought Crimson Bound by Rosamund Hodge. This is her second book, and it is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, this also came out May 5th. Some of you may know that I adore her book, Cruel Beauty, a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, my absolute favorite retelling. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I loved it. So, of course, when I heard this was coming out, absolutely had to buy it. And it's got foil. You all know that I'm a sucker for pretty covers, especially underneath the dust jackets. So, really looking forward to this one. After that, I bought The Novice by Taryn Matharu. This is the first book in the Summoner series. It also came out May 5th. It is a brand new young adult fantasy series. I'm pretty sure it's high fantasy. It doesn't have a pretty cover. I don't know a lot about it. I just remember hearing about it coming out ages and ages ago. So I added it to my to-buy list for the month, and I bought it. And I know it probably has to do with assassins and elemental magic and things like that, typical fantasy, but looking forward to it, and I just love that cover. So it should be good. After that, I bought Undertow by Michael Buckley. This also came out May 5th, and this is the beginning of his new and very first young adult trilogy. I actually bought this because Michael Buckley was on tour at the beginning of the month, and you may or may not have a video about it. I've been keep forgetting to do videos about my author events recently. But essentially this is about a bunch of sea people who suddenly show up on Coney Island, and it's kind of about them integrating and just all the complications that arise from it. I love Michael Buckley's books, so I'm really looking forward to it. And just in case I don't do a video on my stuff, that's what his signature looks like. Put an octopus on it. So, yes, really looking forward to reading this. After that, I bought Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen. This also came out May 5th. This was an impromptu buy. I do have some Sarah Dessen books, but I always told myself I would not buy them new, I would buy them used, because Sarah Dessen is really expensive. But a friend read this, and she said that this was the best Sarah Dessen book she had ever read, that I really need to read it, because it was not heavy on the romance, and it was about friendship and things, and that I would really connect with it. So I picked it up at work one day, started reading it. I'm about halfway through already. I really love it, so I bought it, and looking forward to reading the rest of it. And then finally, the last new release I bought for the month is Illusionarium by Heather Dixon. This came out May 19. I love Heather Dixon's books. The only other one she wrote was Entwined, which was a retelling of 12 Dancing Princesses. Of course I bought this. This is steampunk. I've been hearing very mixed things about it because a lot of people complained about it being too slow, but I like world-building books, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how she does it. And, ooh, look at the spine! It's got, like, gears and things on it. That's so cool. So, I have every confidence that I'm going to love this book. I don't remember what it's about. I actually didn't look because it's Heather Dixon, that's all I care about. So the next category are books that are not new releases, but I bought them new. So the first haul I have to show you is when I went to see Michael Buckley. I had some time to browse. I was in the mood to buy some books. So I browsed for a while, and this is what I got. So I got the Sisters Grimm, A Very Grim Guide by Michael Buckley. I got this because it was there, and of course Michael Buckley, was signing, and this was the only Michael Buckley book I didn't have. So I went ahead and bought it, and it's just kind of a guide on, like, the characters and things in the series, and it's pretty, so I got it. Then I got The Sin Eater's Daughter by Melinda Salisbury. This is the first book in The Sin Eater's Daughter. I think it's going to be a trilogy. It's been out for a little while. It's been on my TBR for a while, and it was there, and it's so pretty, and I couldn't resist buying it, so I bought it. Yeah, peeking at the cover. And looking forward to reading it. I don't remember what it's about, but got it. And I also bought The Winter's Crime by Marie Rutkoski, the second book in the Winter's trilogy. Got this because I read The Winter's Curse. I own The Winter's Curse, liked it, and I'm ready to read the second book in the trilogy probably next month or a month after. So I got it. Then finally I got The Map to Everywhere by Carrie Ryan and John Park Davis. And I think this is the beginning of a series. It's middle grade. It's been out for quite a while, actually. And it's been on the shelf at work for a while. So I decided to buy it because I wanted to. And it was there. Oops. So the next category are books that I bought at Parnassus Books when I was in Nashville. Because, you know, I was visiting. I needed to bring home some stuff. So I did. Here they are. The first one, other than the ones I've already shown you, is Dangerous by Shannon Hale. I don't know a lot about this. I know it's been out for a while. And I don't know a lot about it. I think maybe it's the one book she wrote that not many people liked, but it's Shannon Hale. And I've seen it around, so I decided, why not get it? It's shiny and pretty. So I did. Then I got The Orphan Queen by Jodi Meadows. This is the first book in a new fantasy series. This has also been on my list for a while, but I wasn't going to get it anytime soon, but I was at Parnassus and they had it, so I got it. Yeah. It's a story with most of these books. And then I got Mosquitoland by David Arnold, semi-new release. A lot of you have probably heard about it. It's contemporary and kind of a road trip story and self-discovery story and stuff, and I don't normally buy these kind of books. I do sometimes when the mood strikes me. But this was signed. And also, one of the people at Parnassus Books said that it was really good, and that if I was looking for something kind of different from what I usually read, fantasy and adventure and all those things, that I really should give it a try, that it was one of the better contemporaries she had read, so I went ahead and got it. And then finally, I bought Zodiac by Romina Russell, the first book in a new trilogy. I have been eyeing this book for so long. It's been one of those I've seen at Barnes & Noble and other places, but didn't quite want to get it. Finally, I was at Parnassus, and I decided to go ahead and get it, because usually if I keep seeing a book and I feel the urge to read it, but don't pick it up, when I do finally pick it up, I end up really liking it. So I went ahead and got this one. And then finally, the last category of the books I bought for my birthday. I had a day in Seattle for my birthday, because I just wanted to, and there's lots of really, really cool bookstores up there. So I went to a couple of used ones, and the first one I went to was Magus Books. And I just browsed, and I found some really good finds. The find that really surprised me was Little Lord Fauntleroy by Frances Hodgson Burnett. So this is a particular copy. These were done by a particular illustrator. I have her other two books, Little Princess and Secret Garden, done by the exact same illustrator, and this was the only one I didn't have, and I cannot believe I found this. So of course I got it. So now my collection is complete, and they all match. So I'm very happy about that. Then I bought Matilda by Roald Dahl because it was in hardcover, and this is probably my favorite Roald Dahl book. And I know I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. Just happens, guys. Sorry. But yeah, so I got it. Then I got Song of the Wanderer by Bruce Colville. This is the second book in Unicorn Chronicles. I have the third, and I'm just collecting the series so I can reread it someday. I remember liking it when I was a kid. That stack's gonna fall. Then I got Between Two Inns by David Ward. This was Complete Faith by. I'd never heard of it, never seen it, but it was there, and it was like $4 or $5, and it sounded kind of interesting, and I think it's middle grade, so I got it. And then I got Behemoth by Scott Westerfeld, the second book in the Leviathan trilogy. I need to start buying this series. This was fairly cheap, considering, and in really good condition, so I bought it. And then the last bookstore we went to was, let's see if I can remember the name of it. Ravenna Third Place Books. It's used and new books. I got mostly new. Actually, I got all new. And it was just a really cool bookstore, really friendly and warm environment, and I loved how it was laid out, and they had a little cafe, and I would love to spend more time there, and I definitely plan on going back at some point. So I just got some books there. Again, they were all new, but I couldn't help myself. So the first one I got is Woven by Michael Jensen and David Powers King. I think this is a standalone fantasy. I've never heard of this book. and I was just reading the synopsis, which I don't remember now, and it just sounded interesting and good. And I kind of told myself that I was going to start buying books that I just never heard of that sounded interesting, books that just caught my fancy. I don't know why. I just decided to. And so this one caught my interest and I picked it up. Then I also got Rivals in the City by Y.S. Lee, the fourth book in the Agency series. I think this was released in March. But I have the entire series, and this is the one I don't have. So I decided to get it because I really want to read it and see what happens next in the series. And then I got Shutter by Courtney Alameda. This is a horror/supernatural book that was not on my list, but then my friend Hazel read it, and she was like, if you like the TV show Supernatural, you gotta read this book, and I think it's the beginning of the series. So I got it on her recommendation, because I do love Supernatural. So I got it. She said it was really good. And then I got The Bookseller by Cynthia Swanson, which is an adult book, but it takes place, I think, in the 30s or 40s. Hello, bookmark. 60s. Yes, it takes place in the 60s. So not that historical. Well, I mean, it is, but I don't really... Anything past the 50s I don't really care about. But it takes place in a historical time period in New York, and it has to do with a bookseller's wife, I think, and I love adult novels that surround bookstores, like The Story Life of A.J. Fikry. I try to read the, I don't remember what it's called, but it's got a yellow cover, the 24-hour, Mr. Penundra's 24-hour bookstore. I tried reading that one. I got a little bored, it got bogged down, but some parts I enjoyed. So this one sounded really good, and I went ahead and got it. And then finally I got kind of a freebie. It's for review. And it's called Hit by Lori Ann Grover. It's realistic fiction, I think, and it's young adult, but I went ahead and decided to pick it up to read it, to see what it's like. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, quite honestly, but we'll see. So yeah, this should be interesting. So those are all the books I got in May as of now. I'm also filming this early because I have to leave for New York in a week, actually a week and a half, for BookCon. So I'm going to have a separate, though all the books I get in New York are probably going to be included in a separate BookCon haul, or I'm going to save them for the end of June. Yeah. So yeah, those are all the books I got. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you with my reading wrap-up. Bye.